Absolutely. Yeah. So, Dylan, I don't know if you knew this. I used to produce XL Primetime when it was Joe and Hacker a long time ago now.
I taught her everything she knows, man.
Well, technically, Tony Smith did.
That's why I taught him everything he knows.
So there we go.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I became the producer of Jaguars Today, and then we closed the loop, I should say, because now Dylan Dunmark's here, and he's the producer of Jaguars Today.
That's right. It's like a 100. Actually, I guess it's like a 360 degree moment right now. I don't know. And like I said, I've known you for 13, 14 years. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you and I have ever done 2 hours of radio together.
I was trying to think that. I feel like we've done shows together at some point in time, but maybe not.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was like me, you, and somebody else, but I don't know if it's just been the Lauren Brooks Hacker Nation program.
Well, on this Friday, people are getting that extra special edition.
Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me? You can be locked in till 2 o'clock.
You got that right. All right, let's talk some Jaguars football hack. As far as the position group that you think the Jaguars improved the most, I think there are a few different options here, and I'm interested to see which way you take it.
You know, I like to call myself a numbers guy, and you know this, a jersey guy. And normally by this point in the offseason, the Jaguars PR department does such a great job giving us those roster sheets, right? And we have the roster sheets in our hands to be able to see who's who. But normally by June, early July, I don't need that. It's been a very valuable resource this year. The newness on this team is crazy. And I know with any coaching regime change, there's going to be a lot of new guys. Lauren, I think of the 90 guys that are there, I mean, I think I counted upwards of 55 to 60 that were not even here in January. I mean, you're talking about 30 some odd free agents or rookie free agents or draft picks, 15 some odd free agents that have been brought in between the initial free agent class and the ones that have been brought in the last couple of weeks. And when you look at the overall body of work, the overall roster, what has been improved the most, it's hard, but I'm going to say it might not be the sexiest pick, if you will.
Sure.
I'm going to say the pass rush position because they had nothing behind Joshua Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker on the edge for 2 years. Trent Baalke just decided he's just not going to bring in anybody to help 41 and 44. Now you have an established guy in Emmanuel Ogbah, who's very familiar with Anthony Campanelli's scheme from their time in Miami. You bring back DeJuan Smoot. The guy they just signed from Arizona had like 5 sacks last year. Yeah, Gardeck, right. So, I mean, that's 3 guys that were not here last year that all have proven they can get to the quarterback. That's 3 more guys than the Jaguars have had behind 41 and 44 for the last 2 seasons.
And Liam Cohen talked about Dennis Gardeck and the fact that, you know, he faced him several times throughout his career, and he was always on their game changer board as far as identifying him in their meetings as far as a guy you had to watch out for. Yeah, I think that's a good one, especially to add the depth. To me, it has to be the offensive line. And I'm banking on this because, of course, we have seen OTAs, we've seen mandatory minicamp, but that has not included any pads. So I don't know if the offensive line has improved at this point in time. But the fact that I believe there will be 3 different starters, at least 3 different starters on the offensive line going into the 2025 season shows that they knew that position group, and anybody who watched Jaguars football last year knew that position group was one of the worst on the team. And that's saying something because the secondary really probably was the worst. Mm-hmm. And so I could go that route to it and tell you the secondary is improved, but it has to be the offensive line. So I guess that's the fact that they brought in Patrick McCarry and they paid him a decent amount of money. They brought in Robert Hainsey. They paid him a decent amount of money. I think there's a true battle at right tackle between Anton Harrison and Chuma Edoga. Walker Little, may be the left tackle. There could also be there could be a competition from Fred Johnson, who's a huge, powerful guy. And then the left guard, I assume it's a really good battle between Ezra Cleveland and Wyatt Milam. So to me, that group, I guess optimistically too, has to take a step forward for this team to get to where they need to go.
I agree, but the reason I didn't say them, they brought in 6 guys, as you mentioned, 4 in pro free agency, 2 in the draft. 5 of those 6 guys did not start in the National Football League last year. Hainsey was not a starter.
Right, he got beat out.
Edoga was not a starter. Mm-hmm. Fred Johnson played because of injuries in Philadelphia, but he wasn't a starter until the injuries happened. Now, do I think Hainsey, Johnson, and Edoga can help this offensive line? Yes, I do. But the point still remains, they were not starters on their own teams.
That's a valid argument.
And you bring in Wyatt Milam, Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. I've interviewed him already. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's going to be here for 10 years, and I'm pumped about it.
Nobody's touching Trevor.
Right, exactly. And I love that mindset. But at the end of the day, he's a third-round rookie. right? And then you draft a 7th rounder in Jonah Monheim that I think some Jaguar folks might have been surprised he was there in round 7. I've heard people say they thought he would go in round 5 or round 6. He was a luxury pick in round 7. But back to the initial point, I hope you're right. I hope the offensive line is the most improved. The offensive line is the most made over. Right. I'll say that because I think all 6 guys make the team. But I can't say it's the most improved right now because, again, other than Macari, you're hoping on a lot of guys that did not start in the NFL last year.
Yeah, and I'll say 2 things to that. One, I trust Tony Baselli's eyes and evaluation of offensive linemen, and if he believes they are good enough to start here, then I'm going to at least as of now, trust until he shows that he maybe missed on some guys. And then they brought in a different offensive line coach. Of course, there's all new staff members across the board. That's what happens when you get a new head coach. But Sean Surrett, I've heard great things about. And so that's the other reason that, again, I'm being optimistic because until we see them in pads, we can't say any of this stuff. But I do think that the defensive front they're going to go against, to your point about the pass rushers and the waves behind those 2 starters, they're going to get a good battle in camp. And they're certainly going to have, some iron sharpening iron.
I mean, the crazy thing, outside of kicker, punter, and long snapper, there's not a position that did not get touched and added to this offseason. Everywhere.
Absolutely.
New backup quarterback, 2 new running backs. You got at least 2 new wide receivers, maybe more. 6 new offensive linemen. We talk about all the defensive veterans they've brought in. Linebacker, I guess Kaiser is going to be the new. There's a lot of similarity at linebacker. That might be the other position. And then, of course, Eric Murray, Caleb Ransaw, Rayon Lane, all these guys, Jordan Lewis. There's
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, yes. There is newness everywhere. Wide receivers won, too.
I almost went with wide receiver.
We're hoping for Travis Hunter. I'm not going to sit here and say Travis Hunter right now is better than Christian Kirk. I will tell you at this point in their careers, I believe De'Ami Brown is better than Gabe Davis. And if Travis Hunter is what we believe he is, in that combination with BTJ, De'Ami Brown, and Luke and Parker Washington as well, well, there's a lot of upside for that wide receiver room. And
the only reason I think I didn't go receiver is because I'm so high on Brian Thomas Jr. I wanted the Jaguars to draft him back in October of the prior season, watching LSU football and him opposite Malik Neighbors with Jaden Daniels throwing the football. So he's been my guy for so long that as long as he's in the wide receiver room, to me, it's not as important as the other guys. But certainly, to your point, De'Ami Brown, we've seen his speed flash already in the offseason workouts. And Travis Hunter is a unicorn, and we expect him to play on both sides of the ball. And I've heard Jeff Loggeman say he thinks he's a better receiver. I've heard Pete Prisco say he thinks he's a better corner. I will say when I watch him so far, I think his fluidity at corner makes me more excited about him and the options that the Jaguars have for him at corner, especially making over that secondary too. But the fact that we get to see him now working out in pads and we get to see how good he is at both of those positions intrigues me.
Is there a position on this team that you think has been downgraded from last year?
Well, that's a really good question. I don't know that this is maybe a cop-out answer. I don't know that backup quarterback, I liked Mac Jones coming here when the Jaguars traded for him, and I don't know that much about Nick Mullins and the other guys that I've seen, John Wolford and Seth Hennigan. I was excited about Seth Hennigan becoming maybe the backup quarterback, but I haven't seen really anything great from the 3 backup quarterbacks. So again, that might be a cop-out answer because that's not a starting group, but I think that's the only thing that I can come up with because I like what they did. Maybe tight end. Okay, there we go.
Tight end's the one.
Tight end, but here's the thing.
I got real concerns about tight end.
I do understand that, but we know, and I've heard you say this, Liam Cohen doesn't use the tight end the same way Doug Peterson did.
Right.
So the emphasis on having a pass-catching tight end there in Evan Ingram, I think that's why he's now with the Denver Broncos. The other 2 guys are really good blocking tight ends, and then they also signed Quentin Morris, who I don't know if he'll make the team, but certainly we will watch out for that. Evan Ingram just didn't fit the style of this offense. So that's why I'm not as worried about that position. And I think Britton Strange is great at both pass catching and blocking.
You can't have depth everywhere. I understand that. That's the reason the salary
Only
cap.
The Eagles do.
Only the Eagles do, right. The Eagles, the Packers.
Eagles are an anomaly.
The Chiefs, the really good teams do.
And I don't even know if the Chiefs really, offensive line-wise, I don't know that they do have
depth.
That's
fair. But but most teams can't have depth
absolutely.
Everywhere.
Especially teams that are coming off of a 4-win season.
Right. And if the Jaguars are a high ankle sprain away from Britton Strange being out to Hunter Long and Johnny Munt. And look, what's funny is I've done division previews on my show, and we're actually rounding those out in the next couple of weeks. I talked to the folks out in L.A. Well, they rave about Hunter Long. I talked to the folks in Minneapolis. They say Johnny Munt might have been Kevin O'Connell's favorite player.
Right. And where did Liam Cohen come from once upon a time?
Right.
And where did Grant Udinski come from?
Absolutely. But that's nice to say. Then you look at the numbers, and maybe I'm too much of a statistician.
Sure.
Long and Munt just have not done a whole lot when it comes to receptions, yardage, touchdowns, etc. Maybe they haven't been given the opportunity, and if they're given an opportunity this year, as we talked about, Liam Cohen last year in Tampa, if you look at Cade Otton, who's a pretty good tight end, he really didn't come on last year until it was a necessity, until Mike Evans was out and Chris Godwin was out. When Evans and Godwin were in, they didn't really focus on the tight end in that offense. When those guys got hurt, you had to adjust to get the tight end more involved. Now, in this situation, hopefully we're never talking about BTJ or Travis Hunter or De'Ami Brown not being in there, so maybe it's a moot point, and maybe Brenton Strange will be healthy for the entire year. But that's a lot of maybes.
What about Patrick Herbert? Justin Herbert's little brother.
That's my guy, man. I'm referring to him as Justin Herbert's brother to now. Right. If he makes the team, he'll be a little more than that. Okay. But he has done some nice things out there. I think so, yeah. And again, and you mentioned Quentin Morris. That's another guy that fits the Liam Cohen offense. As a blocking tight end. They went out and got him in like the third or fourth wave of free agency. They didn't need to do that. They signed him in like early May. There's obviously a reason they did that. But when training camp begins here in less than a month's time, I'm going to take a real close look at the tight end position, because for the last couple of years, it was Evan Ingram and you were good. And for the last, 2 years, it was Evan Ingram, Brenton Strange, and you were good. And now it's Brenton Strange and, quite frankly, some unknown to us, which is a little interesting to say the least.
Maybe a good homework assignment is to go watch some film of Johnny Munt and Hunter Long.
Love the Johnny Munt
Quentin
film.
Morris and all those guys. All right, let's keep it on the Jaguars when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, this is Derek Trucks on my hometown station, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
Opened up by Lee and Kate's Glass.
Born in Jacksonville, raised on Southern Rock, and coming home to the Florida Theater, it's Molly Hatchet. Saturday, June 28th. Get your fill of Southern Rock fury. I'm going back to the Gator Country. Grab your seat at floridatheater.com. It's a hometown homecoming with Molly Hatchet.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. It's the little things like a peach milkshake on a warm day that makes summer sweet. And now you can head to your local Chick-fil-A and enjoy a favorite summer treat again. Hand spun the old-fashioned way, the refreshing milkshake features Chick-fil-A ice cream and peaches. It's the perfect cold treat to enjoy outside on a warm day or with friends and family after dinner. And it's here for just a limited time, so swing by your local Chick-fil-A and treat yourself today.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Yo, it's your main man E.T. here for Explore Clay. And Clay County is your destination this 4th of July. Start the morning with the Freedom 5K in Keystone Heights. Medals for the first 300 finishers and a scenic course through the shaded neighborhoods. Then enjoy the 57th annual celebration at City Hall with vendors, live music, and family fun. Wrap up the day at Moose Haven in Orange Park for the American Pride 4th of July, a free Riverside event with food, live entertainment, and fireworks over the St. Johns River. Discover more at exploreclay.com.
It's hurricane season. Protect your home with 904 Gutters with a Z. That's right. Z as in zone defense for your home. Water damage hits hard. 904 Gutters with a Z hits back harder. Search 904 Gutters with a Z and make the right call.
At IHRS, we're passionate about solving your hair loss. We're clients too. With the latest hair transplant technology, FDA-approved laser hair therapy, and PRP, we guarantee solutions for both men and women. Call now for a free consultation and receive $250 off. Hair restoration is for me, and it can be for you too. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline goes there for you.
Work on three, 1, 2, 3.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Hey, Jacksonville Hicken here. I've been around the block or two, and Checkmate Coatings is who I'd call for my own place. They're my new MVP for stunning, long-lasting floors.
Brendan here with Checkmate Coatings. No massive overhead means top prices on top-quality pool decks, driveways, garages, and patios, too.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com today. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
If you're 35 to 75, you could get life insurance today. No medical exam needed. I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial. One call could protect your family for life. Call me today, 904-885-9566.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Never go wrong, Dylan Denmark. We're playing some Alan Jackson on this Friday. As we're joined by Ryan the Hacker Green. Dylan, did you know that I love Alan Jackson?
Yes. Somewhere along the line, you've told me once, maybe twice.
I'm about to say, where is this stuff on Hacker After Dark, man? I'm coming back to all kinds of weird stuff every night. If you play Alan Jackson here, I better get some Brooks and Dunn and some Tracy Lawrence tonight. Kidding me?
I love me some 90s country, and I'm glad you know that, Dylan Denmark. By the way, today is the grand opening of Big Chief Tire's new Mandarin location right near Hacker's house. There's 6 locations now around town. Head to San Jose Boulevard from noon to 5 p.m., so it just started a little bit ago. Head there until 5 p.m. today. They're grilling burgers and dogs. And get this, Hack, Big Chief Tire is giving away 4 sets of new tires today.
Nice.
4 sets of new tires. And plus the Frangie Show will be there. Yours truly as well. We'll be joining Frank today on the broadcast. So yeah, get to Big Chief Tires, San Jose Boulevard. Not just food, but fun, and 4 sets of new tires.
That's a home game for me. I might come down and break bread with you guys this afternoon.
I love that. And do you need new tires?
To be honest with you, I actually do. When you said that, it piqued my interest.
Perfect.
Yes. I don't know if I'm eligible, but I'd like to talk to the folks at Big Chief.
I feel like this isn't a 10-10 giveaway, so you're absolutely eligible.
All right.
My friends at Big Chief Tire, Reed and Kelsey and them, they'll absolutely let you win.
That.
Or if you win, I should say. All right, so we were just talking about which position group did the Jaguars improve the most this offseason. I want to get it to running back because to me, for the Jaguars, that might be the most fascinating group to watch. We talked about the offensive line. There was some competition there for sure. But running back, as we sit here on June 27th, this fine Friday in Jacksonville, FLA, I do not know who the featured back will be. I can take my guess. I think it's going to end up being Tank Bigsby. That's my guess. But based off of offseason workouts, based off of talking to a lot of people, I still do not know.
Yeah, to me, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other between Etienne and Bigsby. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is Etienne's final year here in Jacksonville. But having said that, it's a contract year, and you know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Guys tend to perform pretty well for contract
Look
years.
at Josh Hines-Allen.
Exactly. I mean, nothing will ever top Mercedes Lewis.
Sure.
From back
Who's had now a million contract years.
Right. But I remember, was it 2010? He was on a contract year, and he made the Pro Bowl, and they got a big deal here. And then Mercedes had a fine career after that, but 2010 was phenomenal. It's a contract year for a couple of guys, Devin Lloyd as well, and Travis Etienne. I think Bigsby is going to be the guy ultimately.
Trayvon Walker, I suppose, too, but they've already picked up his fifth
Right,
option.
you know Trayvon will be back next year. I think Etienne or Bigsby is going to ultimately be the guy. I don't know if it's going to be early in the year. To me, the intrigue lies with the rookies. I really like Tootin. I like everything about Tootin. 4.32, fastest running back at the combine. The one concern about Tootin actually showed itself on his opening carry at rookie minicamp. Lauren, I had so many draft analysts on my show leading up to the draft, and after the draft, especially after the Jaguars drafted him. One guy literally called him Mr. Fumbles. He had a fumbling problem in Blacksburg. I mean, that's reality. That's when you fumble the ball in your opening carry at rookie minicamp, I thought, oh, no.
Yeah, and the head coach talks about it.
And the head coach talks about it in his press conference. Now, we didn't hear much about that afterwards. 4.32 is great. You need the football in your hands running a 4.32. If you don't have the football in your hands, it doesn't really matter how fast you are.
And what's been Bigsby's problem?
Exactly. And Bigsby had an issue with that at Auburn. That was the MO on him coming out. So we've lived this life before. If Bigsby and if Tootin, primarily Tootin, I think Bigsby's gotten a little bit better with it. If Tootin can get the ball security issues figured out, I'm going to use a Frank Frangiism. Frangie just joined us here.
He did.
Lauren, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
By Bashel Tootin.
I like Bashel Tootin, and we did talk to a Virginia Tech analyst on the show, and the way that he talked about it was you have to look at each of those fumbles kind of in a vacuum. Not all of them were the standard, he just fumbled the football. One, he was injured on the play that he fumbled. One, someone else missed a block. Like the way he talked about it, and granted, you're always going to defend your guy, right? So I can understand that. But that did make me think, okay, this wasn't a guy that everyone in watching him every week thought he had a fumbling issue. But to your point, some people absolutely did. And so that's going to be a challenge when that's how you start off. But again, we haven't seen them in pads. Let's see what happens then. And look, Travis Etienne, I think because of the year we saw last year, like watching him closely, to me, he didn't have the same vision that he had prior to that. And he didn't seem to me to be as fast. Now, granted, he suffered a hamstring injury, in week 6? So that certainly affects you as a running back. Talk to Fred Taylor, obviously, about that, right? Any running back. So I do think that there were mitigating circumstances. And we know that Liam Cohen in this offense is going to run the football. So maybe all three of those guys get their fair share of carries. And maybe LaKent Allen is a guy that on third down, can catch some passes out of the backfield. I had a quote unquote bold prediction for the Jaguars this season in that they had 0 receiving touchdowns by a running back last season, which is pitiful, as we know.
That's really bad.
Really bad. So they need to have at least 3 this year with the way Liam Cohen runs this offense. I'd like to see more like 5, especially because you drafted a guy in LaKent Allen.
Allen in Syracuse, what do you have, 64 catches out of the backfield last year? That's a crazy number of catches for a running back.
Just like Brian Thomas Jr. had 17 receiving touchdowns his junior year at LSU. That's a crazy number.
Right, crazy number. And Allen's also good in blitz pickup. Allen's the guy that you really like, and you might trust more going in there, on third downs early in the year. I don't know if he'll be active in every game. I don't know if you're going to dress 4 running backs or not. But no, the ETN thing, again, I think the motivation's going to be there. And I do wonder with Liam Cohen, with what he did with Rashad White and Bucky Irving last year.
Which, by the way, real quick, Rashad White had 6 receiving touchdowns last season.
Perfect.
He tied Devon Achane with 6. They led the league with 6 receiving touchdowns as running backs.
You know why I know? I don't know. I didn't know he had 6, but I had Rashad White on my fantasy team, which is why he was good value.
Oh, you play fantasy? I didn't know that.
A little bit. Well, every once in a while. I might be in the middle of a rookie draft right now.
For
Travis Hunter is about to come off the board. I'm going to be very upset. I'll keep you updated. But the thing is with the running backs, all right, can Travis Etienne be Rashad White? Can Tank Bigsby be Bucky Irving? And then Bashel Tootin.
Or can Bashel Tootin be Bucky Irving?
Be Bucky Irving. Yeah, that's the idea. And it goes back to when Liam Cohen arrived in Tampa, too, with the offensive line. The offensive line in Tampa wasn't anything great when Liam Cohen got there. Tristan Wirfs was good, but the other four guys you didn't really know.
Mid, as the kids say.
And one was a rookie. The center was a rookie last year. And the offensive line performed beautifully. Can Liam Cohen's system enable this offensive line to maybe play over their heads a little bit, maybe like Tampa did last year, and allow for some great things from that running game?
And that's where those tight ends that we were talking about in the first segment, as far as those blocking tight ends, they're going to be called upon a lot in the run game. That is why I think they shifted their focus to those types of running backs, or those types of tight ends, because they probably realized Evan Ingram wasn't the best blocking tight end. And for this system, what they want to do, their identity, they want to be fast, they want to be physical. And that's, I think, why, again, they moved on from a guy like him. To me, if we have kind of like a mystery game every week with who's going to lead the team in carries, I think that ends up being a great thing, because other teams then the opposing defenses have to then try and figure out which running back they have to stop, because they have different styles, certainly. So yeah, it'll be fun to watch. All right, let's get it to the NBA draft round 2 last night on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
We got a great show for you today.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
A big show.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
A king-size show.
Lee and Kate's Glass.
Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Mia here for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet. You know how much I love it. So with summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you've been thinking about? Tool storage, workbenches, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes you guys, too. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. Visit closetsbydesign.com.
Ready to add some value to your day? The everyday deals at Sonny's have got you covered. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, all you can eat ribs for $19.99, and our new loaded barbecue potato for $11. Available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Got a leaky faucet? AC blowing hot air? No worries. Duck Rooter has your back. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
I'm Drew Scrimshire, president and publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal. In business, timing is everything. That's why every morning at 8:15, our morning edition delivers the most important business news straight to the inboxes of Jacksonville's decision makers, executives, entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders. Want to know what the First Coast power players are reading before they start their day? Join them. Subscribe today to the Jacksonville Business Journal Morning Edition at bizjournals.com/Jacksonville.
After our son's shoulder issues were worsening, we took him to see Dr. Snyder at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, who recommended PRP treatment. We trusted Dr. Snyder's evaluation and look forward to seeing him pitch again. For the right care, the best care, we highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 27, 2001, Kwame Brown, Glenn Academy's leading rebounder and shot blocker, was the first overall selection by the Washington Wizards.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, wants to make your flight in and out of Jax a fun one. Stop by Vino Volo in the airport and enjoy 2 signature brackish cocktails. Vino Volo has amazing food and cocktails before your flight. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka and made right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Brackish Vodka for whatever your sport is. If your sport is flying, your vodka is Brackish, proud partner of the Jaguars.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jax Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jax Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
We went to probably 4 or 5 jewelry stores.
Jacksonville's Mitch Vandal went to the town center looking for an engagement ring, but found the big box corporate jewelry experience wasn't for him.
Nobody was really helping us. One of the stores, some people walked in behind us and they were offered beer and champagne, and I'm wearing shorts and a cutoff, so I don't really look the part. So I was like, well, I guess we'll go somewhere else. I don't know if they think we can afford to shop here or what.
So he went across and discovered locally owned Beards Diamonds.
When I walked in, everybody just said, hey, welcome in, welcome to Beards.
Mitch loved the service and attention he got at Beards and ended up with a bigger, better quality diamond.
It was about twice the size of what I thought I could afford, and it was also about twice the size of what my wife thought she wanted.
Today, Mitch tells all his friends, shop local, shop Beards.
You're going to get the best deal on the best diamond.
Unbeatable value, unmatched selection, uncompromising personal service.
Anybody that I know, I want them to shop at Beards.
Beards Diamonds, St. John's Town Center.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference. For 100 years, service you can trust. Lee and Kate's Glass, depend on us. Glass solutions to meet your needs. Reliable quality guaranteed. Complete customer satisfaction. With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jamming here on a Friday afternoon in the Sunshine State. Ryan the Hacker Green is here. Dylan Denmark filling in for RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Taylor Dahl has the day off. She'll be back with us next week. All right, Hack, I have to say one of the best decisions that we made in the month of April was going down to Florida, going to the University of Florida for the spring game. Even though DJ Lagway wasn't throwing, we decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and go down, my parents and Brian and I. And we made the decision before they announced that they would be honoring the 2025 men's basketball national champions. And so it was so cool to not just be there to get to see different guys, which Dallas Wilson, the receiver, incredible in person. And the year before, my dad and I had discovered Jaden Baugh. And so I knew, okay, this cat's going to be special. But either way, getting to see the men's basketball team be honored, obviously Todd Golden and the rest of the crew, was really, really special. I love when you get to bring everybody together and celebrate something like that, because I didn't get to be in San Antonio, right? My dad went. He got to be there for the national championship, which was unbelievable. But obviously I bring this up because round 2 of the NBA draft last night, and we had already seen Walter Clayton go in the first round, and now you see Elijah Martin and Will Richard also be drafted, as well as a Florida State guy, Jameer Watkins. He's headed to the Wizards, and then Chaz Lanier headed to the Pistons. Excited to see the former UNF and then Tennessee guard.
Yeah, it was cool last night because in a 6-pick stretch, you had Janai Broome, Chaz Lanier, and Elijah Martin.
Right, Janai Broome, who we once thought was going to go to Florida.
Right, and normally in round 2 of the NBA draft, and I'm a diehard NBA fan, but you don't know who any of these people are, but Broome, Lanier, Martin, pretty much back-to-back to back. Now, Elijah Martin,
one thing... So the Raptors, do you like that?
Well, I mean, it's... 2 most obscure teams for Jacksonville residents is Walter Clayton going to the Jazz and Elijah Martin going to the Raptors. But obviously, Elijah Martin, Lauren, impressed in the pre-draft workouts because when the initial mock draft started coming out, March, April, and even early May, Elijah Martin might have been at the tail end of round 2. He got drafted 39th overall last night, which to me means he obviously opened some eyes in the pre-draft workouts. And same thing with Will Richard. Will Richard's a guy that you didn't see in any mock drafts.
Right.
Even a week ago, he wasn't on any mock drafts. And even though he went at the tail end of round 2, he got to hear his name called and he gets traded to Golden State. And he's probably going to be on their G League team, but he's going to get to learn from the likes of Steph Curry and Draymond Green, which is incredible. So, yeah, the fact
Don't learn from Draymond.
Well, maybe not Draymond.
Learn more from Steph.
Maybe more from Steph. That's right. But the cool thing is, obviously, Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, and Will Richard will be forever linked together in Gator history. Primarily Walter Clayton, but you acknowledge.
I think you can't talk about this team without talking about all three.
Probably. See, we were talking about this on Hacker After Dark last night. Is Walter Clayton Jr. now the most popular Gator basketball player of all time with the Gator fan base?
I would say yes. And then second, I would say you have to mention the 04s. And they're all together. That's the difference.
See, my argument was Joakim Noah. Because for whatever reason, Noah to me, because he was the partier and the prankster, I almost think you mentioned Noah a little bit before Horford and Brewer. But you're right. When you talk about Noah, Horford and Brewer are right there. They are linked.
Lee Humphrey too?
Well, yeah, Lee Humphrey, Torian Green, all of them. But primarily the 3 lottery guys. To me, Brewer, Horford, and Noah. Walter Clayton, no disrespect to Elijah Martin and Will Richard, great players. But I think 5-10 years from now, you're going to be thinking about Walter Clayton and what he did. Maybe a little bit Elijah Martin, but is Elijah Martin where Al Horford was? Is Will Richard where Corey Brewer was?
Yeah, and it's different too, as you know, because they play different positions. Like these 3 guys all played a similar position.
Right.
The other guys, it's just totally different.
I thought Joakim Noah's popularity, it was unbelievable. And maybe it's recency bias.
It definitely is recency bias.
And it probably is. But Joakim Noah kind of shared that spotlight or was in the shadow of Tim Tebow for a large portion of his time in Gainesville.
People have to remember, you had a national championship in football, and then you had the basketball, and then in the basketball again, and then another national championship in football. And so, as Hicken refers to it, Gator Camelot,
right?
We were totally spoiled by that stretch.
But I don't remember, and again, recency bias, I don't remember in the 08 draft, people having draft parties to see where Noah, Horford, and Brewer were going. People had draft parties Wednesday night to find out where Walter Clayton Jr. was going. I had more buddies text me about the Utah Jazz yesterday than I've ever had in my life. It was like Stockton, Malone, Walter Clayton Jr. And when the Magic schedule comes out, I told Frangie this yesterday. I'm going to look immediately to see when the Utah Jazz come to Orlando, and we need to get a 1010 XL bus together.
Love it.
To go down to see Walter Clayton play Paolo Banchero and the Magic.
Yeah, and I was disappointed. RJ told us yesterday that he doesn't think Walter Clayton Jr. will start. He thinks he'll come off the bench based off of their roster. And I was like, but if I'm going to watch any of the Utah Jazz, I'm going to want to see Clayton Jr.
You don't want to
on
watch
the floor.
Jordan Clarkson or Lauri Markkanen?
Exactly. I prefer not to. But yeah, and I'm not going to stay up late and watch the Utah Jazz, I'll be honest. But it is cool that now Clayton Jr. is the first Gator to ever play for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
I read that Neil Walk had played for the Jazz before they became the Utah Jazz. So there's a Gator fun fact for you.
It was a giant sigh of relief for me because a diehard, long-suffering Orlando Magic fan.
Right.
I saw all the talk about Miami and Walter Clayton.
For sure.
And I was trying to rationalize this. I'm like, I love Walter Clayton. I despise the Miami Heat as an Orlando Magic fan. How am I going to keep this into perspective? It was almost like when Derrick Henry got drafted by the Titans. Love Derrick, had him in studio all the time, great kid. Of all teams he could have gone to, he killed us with the Titans for like 8 or 9 years. It completely sucked.
And embarrassed us.
Yeah. 99 yards, hip-tossing Leon Jacobs. I mean, it was awful.
The only reason anyone even remembers who Leon Jacobs was.
Leon Jacobs' moment of glory is he got WWE hip-tossed by Derrick Henry on that 99-yard run.
Let's hope that Jarian Jones has a much better ending to his embarrassing moment this past year with Saquon Barkley jumping over him.
Yeah, but Leon Jacobs didn't get on the Madden cover with that.
That is
Jarian
very
Jones
true.
is on the Madden cover.
But Jarian, I think, will have a much better NFL career than Leon did.
That's fair.
Leon
I
Jacobs, not Cersei.
Right, I hope so. But get back to the Gator conversation. Walter Clayton's going to go down in Gator fandom memories forever. forever. Just the run they had was infectious.
And how he did it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, too. He was very similar to Steph Curry, but he also did some things that I feel like we didn't see Steph Curry do it when he played for Davidson.
And I love the fact, as an Orlando fan, that I don't have to play him 4 times a year. He goes out west, but he goes to a team that he's going to contribute on. I mean, there's contract issues coming up there with Colin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen. Not to break down the Utah Jazz roster for our audience here in Jacksonville, but bottom line.
You know there are Jazz fans now, though, in Jacksonville.
I'm sure.
Yep.
He could have gone to a lot worse places to get on the court than Utah.
I feel like for Will Richard going to the Warriors, I don't know that he's necessarily going to contribute right away, but I feel like that's such a good situation for him to land in.
He'll be a G League guy. He'll be on the G League a lot of these second round guys, particularly where Richard was drafted, he's going to be on the G League, and if he shows out in the G League, then he'll be on the roster. I mean, keep in mind, Torian Green got a cup of coffee in the NBA. Chris Richard, the same thing. It just happens when you're a second-round pick. You have to really earn your stripes to make it to the big leagues.
You do. All right, Hacker, I'm going to pop quiz you. And if you get none of these, that's perfectly fine. I think you'll get several. But these are the Gators, or you tell me the Gators that have played for the Warriors.
The Gators that have played for the Warriors. I know David Lee.
Yep. There's 5 total. You got 1.
There's 5 Florida Gators that have played for the Golden State Warriors?
Yes. They are all names that you know for sure. One of them, and I would also say, is a very popular, several of them are very popular Gators, but this one, as far as the Mike White era goes, this one is probably the most popular.
Chris Chioza.
Yes.
Chris Chioza.
There's your second one.
Playing for the Warriors is an interesting statement with Chris Chioza. He was on the roster. I think he got in sparingly.
Okay, yeah, on the roster. All right, the other hint I'll give you, this was the first guy that I saw live. My parents took me to a game in Gainesville in 1994. And this player became my favorite player.
Okay. So, Andrew DeClercq?
Yes.
All right. Love Andrew DeClercq.
Yes, I knew you'd get that one with that hint.
Orlando Magic player.
And
Andrew
yes, I also
DeClercq.
played for the Magic. That's right. And then the other ones, Anthony Roberson and Maurice Spates.
I should have gotten Spates. I would not have gotten Roberson. I should have gotten Spates.
It was such a difficult pop quiz, but I knew you could at least get one.
That's crazy that 5 Gators. And you think about that. The story came out when Walter Clayton was being linked to Miami that the Miami Heat had never drafted a Florida Gator. Udonis Haslem wasn't drafted.
I don't think most people would remember that because of how long he played.
Right, he was an undrafted free agent. And you think back to Miami, they've been around since 1989. The fact that they've never drafted a Gator was nuts, and that obviously still stands because they did not draft Walter Clayton.
That is true. How do you think the Magic did? Are you excited?
Yeah, I am. Look, the East is so wide open, and it's unfortunate, and the NBA's got to figure out 7 Achilles pops in the last couple of months.
And 0 last year.
And 0 last year. And in the playoffs, Dame Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, and Jason Tatum. That's brutal for the league.
Absolutely.
Brutal for the league. As a fan of a team in the Eastern Conference, yeah, that
got a little
sucks.
easier.
But, the waters might have parted a little bit. Boston's not going to be Boston next year. Indiana won't be as good, and Milwaukee won't be as good. So if you're Orlando, or if you're Detroit, Atlanta's the same thing. You see Atlanta kind of going all in with the Porzingis trade. Man, this is your opportunity. And for Orlando, you got Banchero, you got Wagner, you got Suggs. Desmond Bane, did they give up a lot? Yes, but he is exactly what they needed. And I like Jace Richardson, the kid they drafted from Michigan State, Jason Richardson's son, the former slam dunk champion. Orlando's got everything they need to be a top 3 or 4 seed in the East. And at this point, you need to get past the first round. If Orlando does not get past the first round, it will be a disappointing season. If Orlando gets at least to the Eastern semis, I'll be content with that. That's as cut and dry as I can make it with the Orlando Magic. But it's an awfully tempting thought knowing outside of Cleveland and New York, I don't think there's another team in the East with as much talent right now as the Orlando Magic.
This would be, to put it in a Jaguars perspective, if Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson all suffered some sort of injury.
Yeah, you're not far away from it. Yeah.
It's somewhat similar to that.
Because Boston would have run the conference or been one of the top 2 seeds. Indiana, coming off the finals appearance, would have been a top 3 or 4 seed. Milwaukee would have been a top 4 seed. And now all 3 of those teams, not saying they can't still do some things, because Boston's still going to have Jaylen Brown and Derek White, but they trade Drew Holiday. They trade Porzingis. They're going to be without Tatum. It's kind of a retooling in Boston. So you're Orlando, you're Detroit, you're Atlanta, you're Miami. Man, this is your chance this upcoming season.
So which NBA franchise did the Jaguars most closely resemble, in your opinion?
It's funny you mentioned that, and I knew we were going to talk about that today. And honestly, I don't want to homer up here, but it is kind of Orlando.
Okay.
I mean, look, Lauren, I've covered the Jaguars. I'm, of course, an objective broadcast journalist.
As we all are.
So I don't know if I'd go as far as to call myself a fan and get ferociously upset when they lose on the fifth quarter every Sunday afternoon in the fall. But I am a diehard Orlando Magic fan. Both teams have sucked for 15 years. They've been awful. They've had cups of coffee. Orlando had a cup of coffee a couple of years ago. The Jaguars had a cup of coffee in 17, a cup of coffee in 22. But if you look at Orlando and Jacksonville, that's why the sports powers that be, the sports gods, if one of my professional teams ever wins a championship, I will have earned it. The character building for following the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic, it does build character. It makes you a stronger human being. How awful those teams have been for the last 15 years. But if you look on the ascension, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., been awful for years, but because they've been awful for years, they've stackpiled a lot of draft picks. And I think both teams, the green arrow, is pointing up.
Well, certainly we hope so for both of them. Were the Magic really good at the very beginning of the franchise?
No.
Okay, so that part's a little different.
I mean, when Shaq got there, I mean, that was 4 years in. That was 1992. Okay. I mean, they went to the finals in 95. So that was only 6 years in, but they lucked out and got Shaq and Penny. The Magic were good or fairly good up until about 2009. In 2009, the bottom dropped out. That was the loss to the Lakers in the finals. They lost in 5 games. Derek Fisher in game 4, just awful. He had a 3 to tie it and just ripped my heart out. And really after that, and then Dwight would ultimately leave a couple of years later, and they've just been the doormat of the NBA now for the better part of a decade and a half. But because they've been so bad, they've stockpiled Paolo, Suggs, Wagner, and all those guys will now be able to grow together, just like Trevor, BTJ, Travis Hunter will all be able to grow together.
Yeah, I think the interesting part is for Trevor, as we talk about on every single show on the station, does he now have no excuses, right? Because you have Liam Cohen, the new offense, because you've added certainly guys on the offensive line that we hope take the next step. You've added the running backs, you've added the receivers. Does he get to where he needs to be? And if he doesn't, then what happens? I don't even like to think about that, but it's a conversation that I know if this season doesn't go according to plan for him, we'll have to have.
I get a lot of questions. Is this a do or die year for Trevor Lawrence? No, it's not.
His contract says it's not.
Right. He's going to be the quarterback here next year. I don't care what happens. Even if it's like a football catastrophe, he's going to be the quarterback next year. But if he's bad this year, well, then in June of 2026, we are having that conversation about next season. Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was dealt a horrible hand here in Jacksonville. If we're playing Texas Hold'em, he got dealt a 4 and a 3 offsuit, all right? Because he's had, going back to his last year at Clemson, this will be his 4th head coach in 6 years.
Right.
4th offensive coordinator in 6 years. Lauren, it's the 3rd consecutive year he's had a different center. A center. Can't find a constant center on this team. It is wild how bad things have been here. But you bring in Liam Cohen, you bring in James Gladstone. It looks like you have a little bit of stability. We'll see how he does this year. I think he's going to be very good this year. And I think he's only going to grow, and we're not going to have this question about him being a bust any longer. If I'm wrong and he's not good in 2025, well, then you and I will be sitting here a year from now, and then 2026 may be do or die for him.
Oof, yeah. I do think I'm with you, though. I think with everything around him that they've built, and from what I've seen from him, yes, he's improved his footwork. Liam Cohen right away was able to get him to do that. And I think the situational football, these guys, Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, Tony Baselli, who are obsessed with football, I think they're the perfect people to come in and lead him into the direction of, all right, these are the things that you have to know. Like, you can no longer be like, yeah, my rookie year, not that Trevor makes these excuses, but we do for him. My rookie year obviously didn't go according to plan. And then Doug Peterson was great my first year, and then things fell apart and all those things. But you have to know these things. And maybe that's why he and Doug Peterson seemed to be a little bit at odds towards the end of last year, or through most of last year, because maybe Doug expected Trevor's knowledge to be at a different level. And I think at this point in time, he has to be a situational master. One of those phrases that Liam Cohen loves to use. He has to know what to do, when absolutely not to turn the ball over. And he has to be more accurate, certainly. We know early in games, I don't know if he's nervous or what, but he misses throws, usually too high. You gotta figure that part out right away, and then don't try and play hero ball, right? Like if it's 4th down or 3rd down, I should say, at that point in time, like, don't run the football if you might fumble, or don't get hurt, that kind of thing too. Don't let yourself take those hits. It'll be interesting to see.
When it all works together, I mean, they very rarely had leads.
Right.
So he's always throwing the ball.
Yep.
They can't run the ball.
They couldn't run the ball at all
The
last
defense
year.
knows he's throwing the ball.
Correct.
If you get a running, why was Baker Mayfield so successful last year? Did he just magically turn the light back on?
No, they had a great
They had a great running game. And when you have a great running game, the defense has to come up. And
Right.
guess what? That means the defense is vulnerable over the top.
Exactly.
It
And they
all
have a Hall
works
of Fame
together.
receiver.
Yeah, it all works together in harmony. If you run the ball, Trevor Lawrence will be successful. But as you mentioned at the top of the show, I don't care who your wide receivers are. I don't care who your running backs are. And I really don't care who your quarterback is. If your offensive line doesn't block, none of that matters. So it's all about the big uglies, or as Leon Searcy calls them, the big sexies.
Exactly.
It's all about those guys up front. If they do a good job, the Jaguar offense should be successful.
Yeah, it starts and ends with them. All right, we've got more to do on the other side. Taylor Dahl is on vacation, but she still has a tangent for you. That's next on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Do you realize where we are? No. Look around, man. The clean, modern aesthetic, the cool blue color palette. We're in
1010XL. It's a Helmets and Heels. Lee and Kate's Glass, Friday.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do-it-yourself dirt-attracting carpet soaking machines. No. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast, but Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. You're on-road, you're off-road, now you're on the water. Greg, tell everybody what Coach and Honda is offering in the form of boats.
We've got the Honda boat, which is a great runabout fisherman. We've got the Coach boats. They're fantastic for getting out with a family. Nice lay-down beds, all with that legendary Honda motor on them.
Check them all out. They're waiting for you. You can see how you can be on the water with Honda or with Coach pontoon boats. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Awaken 180. After Walter Clayton Jr. was selected 18th overall by the Utah Jazz, two of his national championship winning teammates will be joining him in the NBA. During round 2 last night, the Toronto Raptors selected Gators guard Elijah Martin with the 39th overall pick. Martin averaged 14.4 points per game with 4.5 rebounds per game. He heads up to Toronto to join forces with a backcourt duo of Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett as they look to improve on last season's 30-52 record. Then at pick number 56, the Golden State Warriors gave Will Richard a call, making history for the Gators as this season marks the first time 3 Florida players were selected in the same draft. Richard shot 36% from 3 during his college career and now gets to learn behind the greatest of all time, Steph Curry. The real temperature is 88 degrees at 101. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air & Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
As we're rocking out on this Friday afternoon. Ryan the Hacker Green is here. Dylan Denmark is here. I'm Lauren Brooks. Taylor Dahl has the day off, but she'll be back on Monday. And right now, she has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
We got news yesterday that Justin Tucker has been suspended for 10 weeks without pay for violations of the league's personal conduct policy. If you do not remember, less than 5 months after 16 different Baltimore area massage therapists accused then Ravens kicker Justin Tucker of engaging in inappropriate behavior during sessions. This led to him getting banned from 2 different spas. Situation sounds kind of familiar. But so he did get 10 games. I don't personally think that's enough. I think when you go back and you read the story of some of the things and details from these massage therapists of what was going on, and I've said this before, I've done tangents on this before, I think their policies of suspensions are very, just not quite to the level that I think they should be. I think it's just very inconsistent. I think that the way they fine people in general for different things is wrong. When you wear the wrong socks, you get fined X amount, but you can punch a woman in a bar and you get fined less. I just don't like that. I don't like the fact that you only get 10 weeks when you inappropriately sexually assaulted at least 16 women. leading to you getting banned from these massage places, and you get 10 weeks, not even a full season. But there's guys that make a bet on a football game and they miss entire seasons. And you can't convince me that it's more damaging for them to place a bet. And especially these are ones that are also bets not even on their specific team. Some of these have been not even on that sport, but other sports. So you can't convince me that it's more damaging for that. I'm going to continue to say it until the NFL puts their foot down. But I do think we need to figure out some way to at least try and make these type of things happen less. It happens way too many times when we're talking about sexual assault, when we're talking about domestic abuse, and these guys just keep getting away with it or get a slap on the wrist, and then it feels like there's no actual consequence for them, and so it just keeps happening over and over again. Not saying that anything crazy, but if you say, hey, you've got to miss 2 seasons of football if something like this happens, maybe people will think about it a little more. But I don't know. I don't see it coming at any time, because this is something that the NFL doesn't seem to want to put a lot of emphasis on. But yeah, Justin Tucker suspended for 10 weeks, and honestly, he hasn't been kicking too well anyway, so I don't know if anybody's too sad about this. If this would have happened 5 years ago, I wonder what this would have looked like. He probably would have got less than 10 weeks.
Yeah, to Taylor's point, Deshaun Watson was fined $5 million in addition to the suspension that he got of 11 games. And so I do understand people questioning Roger Goodell and the NFL's decisions as far as it doesn't seem standardized. And they don't, I guess, owe us anything. They just get to decide what they want to do. They don't go through why they came up with a 10-game or an 11-game suspension, a fine for one person, not a fine for another. And I totally agree about the gambling. Calvin Ridley, as we know, missed an entire year of football for gambling. And yet there are guys that well documented that have been in situations that have ended up with a woman being hurt, and yet they're still able to play and not be suspended, not be fined.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bad situation all the way around. And when you're talking about Justin Tucker, I mean, the fall from grace is borderline legendary. He was going to maybe go to the Hall of Fame as one of, if not the greatest kickers that ever played in the NFL. And now you have this hanging over him with a 10-game suspension. And he was bad last year. And maybe he was bad last year because of all the off-the-field stuff.
That's what I would imagine.
The 10-game suspension, that'll never go into effect because I don't think an NFL team's ever going to sign him again.
No, he's a free agent now. The Ravens released him. They've moved on. I don't think anyone's going to sign him. Maybe if a team, Hacker, in the postseason lost their kicker and got really desperate, maybe at that point in time. But I think you would just bring him in for a workout. I don't know that you would necessarily automatically sign him.
Let me ask you this. It's obviously different from the Tucker situation, but very, very, very bad as well. Henry Ruggs is going to get out of prison coming up here in the next year or so. The former Alabama player, first-round pick with the Raiders. He's only 26 years old. Does anybody sign Henry Ruggs? Now, keep in mind, Dante Stallworth and Leonard Whittle both killed 2 people, and they played in the NFL after that. Now, there were different reasons and whatnot. Every story is different, but there is a precedent for this. If you're an NFL team in need of a wide receiver, Henry Ruggs says he's been working out in prison. I guess that's all you can do in prison is work out.
Right.
Would you give him an opportunity?
As far as second chances, I'm all for it. And I'm not going to belittle what happened. Anytime someone loses their life, it's a grave thing, right? It's tragic and it's awful. He ran a 4.27 40. So we're talking about one of the fastest. We talked about how Bashal Tutin's the fastest guy on this team running a 4.32 40. That was even faster. I don't know if he was able to maintain that type of speed without, nutritional staff, training staff, that kind of thing. But if he still has his speed, then I think an NFL team certainly might give him at least a chance to work out. I hope, and it seems like from his recent public comments, that he's learned his lesson. I think that's one of the saddest things to me is these guys make so much money. They should never have to drive a car, right? Like, you can literally, while you're playing in the NFL, you can hire a driver. The guys that make, obviously, in the first round, second round, things like that. Or you can Uber places and get safely from one place to another. But we see so many of these incidents, and I'll bring up Georgia football players just because there's been several there, but it's not just Georgia. There's other schools where players end up in these, cars that go faster than anything they've ever owned in their life, and they end up driving way too fast. We saw it recently with Zach Edey, the basketball player. He was going 101 miles per hour in a 60, and then Shedeur Sanders was going 100 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. Those are not to the same effect, obviously, of killing someone while driving, but certainly that type of stuff can lead to that.
Yeah, maybe I drive a 2011 Honda Fit, so that's why I don't have to worry about going 110 miles an hour. But truthfully, I'm Morgan Freeman and driving Miss Daisy. I'm the guy on Butler Boulevard that might be going 65.
Taylor and I
on
are
the
the
ride
same
home.
way.
I mean, I'm a 10 and 2 guy as well. I mean, I'm driver's ed, top student, if you will.
Yeah.
The thing about Henry Ruggs, and here's the problem I think he's going to have, is I bring up Leonard Little, and that's always the one that people bring up. And you can even mention Stallworth as well. But Stallworth, there was a little bit of video on that. I don't think there was any video of Little. There was video of Ruggs all over the place. When that happened, I mean, there was that video of him on the side of the road, literally the video of the car he hit burning with the unfortunate, obviously, young lady inside.
And the dog.
I mean, it was a horrible story out there in Las Vegas. I don't know if he can overcome the video because the moment somebody signs him, that video is going to come back to light and it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, but isn't that, not to compare it, but remember when Michael Vick came out of prison from the dog incident, like how awful that was?
Yes.
And when the Eagles first signed him, how, the fans reacted, and then he started playing, he's playing good, and then we all forgot about it.
And didn't Ray Rice play after the video of him punching his wife?
No.
He
didn't
not.
play
He
again?
did not.
Okay.
They cut him, and then that was it.
Okay. For some reason, I remembered him playing like at one more season. But either way, you're right. Video can be damning.
I get the Michael Vick thing. And look, and that was terrible. I mean, I'm a dog lover, and that
Same
was terrible.
here.
All right. Dog fighting or cruelty to animals is a despicable act.
Yep.
Driving 150 miles an hour and killing a woman on a Las Vegas boulevard because you were hammered after leaving a bar.
Yeah.
And then there being video of it and you getting sentenced to prison for like 4 years is a little bit different than what Michael Vick got.
Yeah, a heavy topic for sure. Let's mix it up and give away some Chick-fil-A. Be caller number 3 at 641-1010. Caller number 3, 641-1010. You win lunch on Chick-fil-A. We had Chick-fil-A come and bring us some lunch yesterday. It was absolutely fantastic, as well as peach milkshakes that are delicious. So be caller number 3, 641-1010. All right, Hack, on the other side, I want to get your best memories from 19 years of Friday Night Lights. Or this will be the 19th year.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, this will be year 19.
Okay, so the first 18 years, I want some of the highlights from that when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Rick Ballou is the truth teller.
Tell the truth. That's all. Just tell the truth.
Go into the night with Rick Ballou after the Frangie Show. Then it's Hacker After Dark.
Between him and me.
Ballou and Hacker. Evenings on 1010XL. Lee and Kate's Glass, Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Firehouse Subs has fries. Your hometown hero since 94 just cranked up the heat. Hot subs, crispy fries, golden, pillowy on the inside, and perfectly seasoned. Over 30 Jacksonville locations. Firehouse Subs, homegrown and now with fries.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barber here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barrier Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to barrierorthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barrier Orthopedics.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference. For 100 years, service you can trust. Lee and Kate's Glass, depend on us. Glass solutions to meet your needs. Reliable quality guaranteed. Complete customer satisfaction. With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Say
goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit Bowdeneye.com for a free screening. Bowden Associates, keeping the first coast focused.
Mia here. Why does Northeast Florida buy from Arlington Toyota? Because Arlington is the place to go for big selection. I'm talking over 800 vehicles, one location, and everyday low prices. Check this out. Over 350 SUVs, over 175 trucks, over 275 cars. And if that's not enough, there's more on the way. Plus 60-day exchange. You've heard me talk about it, but really, let this sink in. Buy from Arlington. Take it home. Drive it around for 60 days. And if you decide it's not right for you, you just come on back to Arlington and exchange it for another one. You even get Arlington's lifetime warranty with your new Toyota purchase. Why buy from Arlington? Because right now you can get financing as low as 0% on select new Toyota models. 0%. Now you know why Northeast Florida buys from Arlington Toyota. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard just a quarter mile east of 295 or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/0 for full details.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
Hey, Hicken here, and every Friday I'll help you put together your sports weekend so you know where you want to go and what you want to do. Watch for Musings with the Media Mogul on YouTube and Facebook, locked down by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
It's hurricane season. Protect your home with 904 Gutters with a Z. That's right. Z as in zone defense for your home. Water damage hits hard. 904 Gutters with a Z hits back harder. Search 904 Gutters with a Z and make the right call.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now, little Eagles for you. Dylan Denmark is having us jam out today on this Friday afternoon. Just a reminder, the Big Chief Tire grand opening is going on right now at the new Mandarin location on San Jose Boulevard. That's their 6th location, going on until 5 p.m. today. Go get some grub as they are grilling burgers and hot dogs. And Big Chief Tire is raffling off 4 sets of new tires. And the Frenzy Show will be there a little bit later today from 4 until 6. All right, Hack. Best memories from the first 18 years going into year 19 of Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights is always my baby. I mean, I've gotten to do so much cool stuff on this radio station. And obviously, Hacker After Dark is the best. I'm on every day, and I love it. But I got my original start on air doing Friday Night Lights. I mean, the station launched in April of 07,
yeah.
Right? And that show hit the air August of 07.
Okay.
So Friday Night Lights has literally been on every August that this station has been around in Jacksonville, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, I do really appreciate Steve Griffin, our general manager, his commitment to high school football.
Oh, man, there's absolutely no question. I appreciate Steve Griffin putting me on there.
Absolutely.
I mean, keep in mind, in 2007, I was 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me an opportunity, and now I'm 41 and I'm still doing it, which is unbelievable. To think about the people that I've seen come and go on that program, dating back, like you said, to 07, the Derrick Henrys of the world, and you can go to the Carson Becks of the world, and, hundreds and hundreds in between. The one thing about that show that's interesting is we're in studio for that show, but we hit the air probably about 9:30, usually after Bowles is done or Bishop Kenny's done. And I'll have just people at all these games texting me left and right. 28 seconds to go. Fletcher's on the 5-yard line. Sandalwood's got a 3rd and goal. It's
the red zone without you being able to watch it.
It's the red, right?
Yeah,
right.
On Sunday at 4 o'clock.
It's absolutely unbelievable. And I remember a couple of moments, like I'll never forget, there was a playoff game. Was it Clay and Bishop Kenny?
It was. Yes, it was. I was there.
74-71 or something.
I think it was even closer. I want to say it was like 74-73. I'll look up the score, but I was there. It was insane.
And that was, I think Johnny Wolford was the quarterback. I mean, absolute craziness. And that's what you get. People don't understand. Well, some do. I don't want to say no one does. The Friday night football in our area, and we have like
74-73.
74-73 was wild. The Friday night football in our area, whether it's Duval County, Clay, St. John's, Nassau, Baker, our listening area is absolutely incredible. I mean, some of the athletes that you'll see on Friday nights, I'll be playing big boy college football as early as next year. You can't beat it. And then the storylines, the district championships, teams that have gone for state championships, Reigns winning a couple of state championships under Duran Wiley was certainly big. Bowles has been there so many times in the last 19 years, have made some great playoff runs just to come up a little bit short. There's almost too many stories to tell. I love that show. And it's funny, for the longest time, now people talk about Hacker After Dark a little bit, which is nice. Don't get me wrong. I love that.
Of course.
But for the longest time, I was the high school guy.
Right.
Because of Friday Night Lights.
And then you covered high school recruiting.
And I did high school recruiting when we had Gridiron Now. And high school was always a big portion of my life, and it still is. I still love it. I'm going to be the host of another Friday Night Lights this year, beginning, I believe, August 22nd. Will be our first show. That's week 1 of the high school football regular season. I can't wait. I know High School Media Day is coming up on August 1st. But 74-73 Clay over Bishop Kenny. I'll tell you one that happened recently. It was like 2 years ago.
By the way, do you remember the other quarterback's name? It was John Wolford of Bishop Kenny.
Oh, the Clay quarterback. Refresh my memory.
Wes Weeks.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he was good too. Really, really good.
I mean, you have to be good to put up 73 points.
In a losing effort, mind you, which is just nuts.
That was one of the most fun games I've ever been to.
Reigns and Bowles have had some knockdown dragouts over the years. My goodness, back in the day when Duran Wiley was there, and Reigns is still good now with head coach Donovan Maslin. They're still really good. I think 2 years ago it was. Normally when these games are played, I've been doing it so long, I have a pretty good idea of who's going to win. And with high school scoreboards, we get like 3 different scoreboards going all at the same time. Generally, they're accurate. But there is times where maybe they're not accurate or there was a typo. So 2 years ago, I remember when Providence beat University Christian.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, do I go on and say this right now? Do we call Mo Williams, or are we going to wait a little bit to get verification? Because that was, at the time, a huge upset.
You got to cross-check your references.
Got to cross-check your references. And Providence did a couple of years ago, beat University Christian. It was an amazing, amazing upset. What a win for Providence. That's probably the one recently, and when I say recently, the last 3 or 4 years, that really stuck out because I remember what that win did for that Providence program.
That's so cool. And I think, especially, too, because you played high school football, you understand there's a magic in the air on those Friday nights. I got to cover Bishop Kenny as far as sidelines go one year, and I'd never been able to be that close, right? Like, you are in the mix on that sideline talking to the athletic trainer if somebody goes down as to what the injury is. You can overhear the coach talking to the players, obviously the players talking to each other. You can hear the calls on the field. Like, that to me was one of the things that was just so special. And then getting to talk to, of course, coaches and players after the game. It was like, that was probably my closest outside of playing Powder Puff, probably my closest like in live game action as far as football is concerned. And I loved every second of it.
The great thing about that show too, Lauren, is we'll call coaches on a victorious bus. They're on the road and they're heading home. And they have to turn the radio down because they're listening to the show, right? They're listening to us, but they got to turn the radio down so their coach.
Right.
Or we'll have, parents call in and talk about what their kid did. And, we never call losing coaches because I just have respect. I don't want to call somebody if they lose.
Sure.
Coaches are always welcome to call in. We'll have coaches that lose call in and still want to give credit to their kids for a great performance. Yeah. So that show has materialized over the years, and one of my favorite things to do on the radio station. Again, entering year number 19, absolutely wild. And we'll kick it off on August the 22nd.
And we'll certainly be listening. And that means that the radio station is a year away from being 20 years old.
20 years old.
Which is wild. All right, I want to take a look at the current recruiting rankings when it comes to college football. And a couple different things stand out to me, Hacker. The fact that USC is in first place currently is a little surprising to me, just because on the field, USC hasn't had that much success. Followed by Notre Dame. No surprise there. Just lost in the national championship game. Texas A&M, I feel like Texas A&M pours so much money into their football program that they're always going to be in the top of the recruiting rankings, whether or not that leads to success. Obviously, no championships for them, not even an SEC championship appearance. Then you've got the likes of Georgia and Ohio State. Again, no surprise there. Then at number 6, Miami, Mario Cristobal has a 5-star and 11 4-stars. Then you've got Clemson. Then you've got Florida State. That is a huge, I think, testament to what Mike Norvell is able to do right now. He doesn't have any 5-stars, but he has 13 4-stars. And then skipping down, Florida comes in at number 12 currently, 0 5-stars and then 8 4-stars. But Mike Norvell, with going 2-10 a season ago, and we know that he can mine the transfer portal with the best of them, he's got Florida State at 8th in the country in recruiting. I feel like that's shocking.
Yeah, it's early, but you're right.
That's true. They have to hold those commitments.
6 months till signing day, but I agree. Florida State's done very well. Florida got off to a very late start. I mean, they had Will Griffin, the Elite 11 quarterback from St. Petersburg. Have you seen him, by the way?
I have not.
About 6'4", about 230 pounds. But he's not Tebow. He likes to throw the ball. And not to say Tim didn't.
Right. I mean, look at DJ Lagway.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, Griffin's a pocket quarterback. He doesn't like to necessarily run the ball. He could be potentially a very good one. But he was like one of their only commitments up until 3 weeks ago. And then they've gotten about a dozen commits sent. Napier's on a hot track. You mentioned Mario Cristobal. Miami's always going to recruit well. Florida State's going to recruit well as well. Florida State, it's interesting to me to see if those commitments hold. You know, the summer months are the months of hope. June, July, August in college football. I know you guys have talked to a lot of SEC people, media guys and whatnot, media guys and gals, and I've done the same thing. Your team that you cover, you're optimistic. There's a lot of optimism. Well, when I talk to Florida State people, and primarily those around college football, Josh Pate, Connor O'Gara, Mike Huguenin, a bunch of guys like that here regionally, they're not going to say Florida State's going to be flat out bad, but I don't sense the optimism. You look at that Florida State schedule. I mean, knowing you got to play Alabama, Clemson, Florida, and Miami. You're going to be big underdogs in all those games. You got a weird Friday night game across the country at Stanford. You got North Carolina State.
But Stanford's terrible.
Stanford's terrible.
You have to win that game.
You have to win that game. But they played a lot of bad teams last year and didn't win, too.
That is true.
And the thing with Castellanos, I know his comments this week made all the news.
Oh, yeah. I thank you, by the way, to Thomas Castellanos for when it's the quote-unquote NFL dead period, even though there's a little bit of news that comes out about the NFL this time of year. But thank you for giving us that to discuss this week, that Alabama no longer has Nick Saban and that Alabama's not going to be able to stop you.
Not going to be able to stop you. Alabama's scared of Thomas Castellanos, and we'll see what happens on August 30th. But Castellanos is familiar with Gus Malzahn. They were together at UCF, and then he went and did some good things at Boston College before he essentially left the team.
Before he quit.
Before the season ended. He just said, all right, I'm out of here. I'm going to the portal. All right, that's interesting.
That's today's college football for you.
It is. I like him, but I'm not sure about the talent around him. And I know Florida State's got some real questions in the secondary as well. I think Florida State can hold a lot of those commitments. I do worry, though, for the Seminoles' sake, that if things start going south for them again, how many of those commitments will hold. Florida State's going to be fascinating this year because if they go 6-6 or 7-5, that is a gigantic improvement.
It is.
Enormous improvement.
But is that enough?
Florida State fans are going to be ticked at 6-6 or 7-5.
Yeah, Taylor and I were talking earlier this week about that opening matchup with FSU playing host to Alabama. And I said, well, if you're FSU, I think you feel good if you're competitive in that game. Like, that's a step in the right direction. And of course, FSU fans were like, absolutely not. You have to win that game. And I understand that line of thinking. But Florida has been where FSU is. Progress is different, and building the future of your program is different than where they are right now. And where they are right now is a program where your coach is on the hot seat. You're going to be looking to keep those recruits, to your point, and no one's expecting you to beat the likes of any of those four teams that you just mentioned.
Does FSU fans think they have to beat Alabama?
That's what some FSU fans texted in.
Denmark, do we have a
because
lot?
Alabama's down right now in the world of Alabama.
I guess. They almost made the playoff last year.
Correct. They went 9-4. You went 2-10, and I'm not rubbing that in. Again, Florida has been where FSU
Right.
is.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm wondering. I mean, obviously, it's 2 months till the game. I'm just curious what the early line is on that.
It looks like
double digits.
Alabama's a double-digit favorite in that game, right?
I see back in January, Alabama's favored by 7.5 points. I would imagine that's
all right. I mean,
maybe a
yeah.
little different now.
Look,
12.5.
As of course,
what I also see.
an objective, unbiased reporter here when it comes to Florida State football.
Yeah, I
no
see
question
12.5.
about it.
Dylan's right.
Right, 12.5. I mean, if you're Florida State and you think you, quote, have to beat Alabama, you're a 2-touchdown underdog in that game. That would be a pretty big upset on August 30th.
Yes, it would be. But I do understand it's at home. It's at 3:30. Not that Alabama's not used to dealing with the heat, but Kalen DeBoer certainly has the resume of being a really good offensive-minded coach. Can he get, whether it's Ty Simpson as the starter? That's what Roger Hoover told us earlier this week.
It probably will be Simpson, yeah.
That's what I would imagine. They didn't have as much success running the football last year as they're used to. So I understand what you're saying. That's where my thought process was. Is if you're competitive in that game, the rest of your schedule as far as the ACC opponents outside of Clemson and Miami, you should be able to beat them. But we thought that last year. But you missed on your quarterback.
Yeah.
And then everything fell apart.
My concern for Florida State, and there's a lot of them. I mean, obviously we talked about the quarterback. They better figure out their run defense from last year to this year. Because Georgia Tech and teams like that gashed you.
Oh, yeah.
I got news for you.
Boston College.
The Georgia Tech and the Boston College offensive lines, no disrespect to those fellas. You got Alabama coming on August 30th. You better have figured out your run defense, because if you don't stop the run, whether they have a Ty Simpson at quarterback making his first start or not, it's not going to matter. You're not going to be able to beat them if you don't stop the Alabama running game.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, we've got one segment to go. We will cool down, and also I'll give you today's Terminix Pest of the Day. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on Tentinix on 92.5 FM.
Sometimes you make bad decisions.
Thompson, what's the charge? Disturbing the peace.
And sometimes you make good decisions.
It says here we should work in teams. Who wants to be my spotter?
1010XL. When you want to make a good decision. You're locked into a Lee and Kate's Glass Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
Jacksonville, Florida. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
I've been having knee problems for probably 6 months, and my knee was getting worse, and I had heard about Southeast Orthopedics on the radio, and I gave them a call. They got me right in. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. It was painless, and it's been doing fantastic. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, wants to make your flight in and out of Jax a fun one. Stop by Vino Volo in the airport and enjoy 2 signature Brackish cocktails. Vino Volo has amazing food and cocktails before your flight. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka and made right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Brackish Vodka for whatever your sport is. If your sport is flying, your vodka is Brackish, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Ready to ride the waves? Best Bet St. Augustine is turning up the heat with our Summer Splash promotion. We're giving away over $40,000 in cash and prizes, including a brand new 2025 Yamaha Wave Runner. From now through August 8th, every hour you play poker or table games earns you an entry to win. It all leads up to the grand prize drawing on August 9th. The more you play, the more chances you have. Don't miss your shot to make a splash this summer. Visit bestbetjax.com for all the details. That's bestbetjax.com.
Share your voice anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Are you serious? Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
If you can't call or email, text us 641-1010.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental, with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Your AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home this weekend at newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Join us tonight on Red Shirt Friday for fireworks. Tomorrow features fireworks and a Wizard Club giveaway, all presented by Maxwell House. Come early on Baptist Health Sunday Family Fun Day for Catch on the Field and meet Bluey at the ballpark. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Heck, I'm going to cool down with a little baseball talk since I know you and I are Rays fans, casual Rays fans.
Hey, we're 46-35 at the halfway point. Just swept the Royals. They wanted none of it.
That is correct. And the Yankees are 46-34, meaning the Rays are now just a half game back. To me, these stats are insane. Brandon Lau has hit 16 home runs. Junior Caminero, who I don't think most baseball fans have ever heard of, unless, again, you're a Rays fan or you follow the AL East, has hit 20 home runs. That was yesterday as June 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you can talk about the pitching. Drew Rasmussen, Ryan Pepio, Zach Littell, Taj Bradley, and Shane Baz have all been sensational. And then Pete Fairbanks. I got mad the other day because I saw an ESPN list of players that might get traded, and Pete Fairbanks was on it with like a 60% chance to get traded. I'm like, why would the Rays be sellers right now? I hope that they'd be buyers because, yeah, they are one of the better teams. There are 2 teams in all of Major League Baseball with over 50 wins, the Tigers and the Dodgers. Everyone else has the best they have is around the Rays.
You know what? If they trade Pete Fairbanks, you know what'll happen? They'll get 2 minor leaguers. We won't know who they are until 2027 when they show up on the American League All-Star team. It's incredible. You trade a Randy Rosarani, you trade Glass now, and you trade all these guys. Blake Snell. You trade all of them. and they get 3 minor leaguers in this deal and 2 minor leaguers in this deal. And you're thinking, well, who are these guys?
Right.
Well, these are the guys that are going to be all-stars in a year or two because it's what the Tampa Bay Rays do.
Yeah, I do think Drew Rasmussen, no one would imagine that he was going to be this good. But they have such a good pitching staff that not just the guys in the rotation, but the coaches are so incredibly good. Like Taj Bradley, he was a little bit amiss last year, and then they worked on it in the offseason, and now you saw him the other day pitch against the Royals was outstanding.
Now, I'm not smart enough to know this because I haven't watched as many games as I should, although I'm going to watch a lot of them for the next month. That's about what I got until Jaguar training camp.
Which that's what when I tell people like how my sports are oriented, I'm obviously a diehard Jags person and a diehard Florida person. And I watch outside of a few Olympic sports, like my life is built around when the Gators are playing. So obviously when the Jags play, that's what we do for a living. But even if it wasn't, that would be part of my life. I won't say that that's where I am with like being a Rays fan. I obviously have it on if I'm around a TV, but if someone invites us over to their house and they have a pool and they don't have a TV outside, I'm not going to be upset that I'm missing it. So that's what the difference between like a true diehard fan of a team and me. I'm not going to shift my entire life around the Rays schedule. But of course, like if we're out to dinner, I'm going to have it on the game on my phone.
All the home runs the Rays have hit, they're playing in Steinbrenner Field, obviously, because the Trop got damaged in the storm, which I think...
I want to go to a game there really
watching
badly.
a couple of those games, I think they've done a terrific job.
They have.
I mean, it's a minor league park. It's a spring training park, but it fits about 10,500. They've really raised it up, no pun intended. There's Rays stuff everywhere. You see Raymond James Stadium across the street, so that's kind of cool. But back to the point, are all those home runs, is that a shorter field than like the Trop is?
But I mean, they were away in Kansas City this week.
That's fair.
So I don't know. And obviously every ballpark is a little different, but I don't think that it's necessarily that. I think they're the hottest team in baseball for a reason. And I heard Frank lamenting some of the trades that the Pirates have made with the Rays in the past.
Yeah. The guy that pitched yesterday, Frank, was just having
Shane
a fit
Baz.
over. Yeah.
And I get it. And he obviously is a diehard baseball fan. He will change his life around, making sure he watches every pitch. For me, like you said, it's what gets me through. Like I enjoy baseball. I love the romance of listening to the commentators, but I'm not a diehard live and die with every pitch like I am when Florida's in the College World Series or even the run up to that, the regionals or super regionals.
See, now you don't have an NBA team, right?
I do not.
Okay, so that's the difference.
That is, yes.
I live and die with the Magic.
Yep.
All right. And I've died with them so much from the months of November to April that about the time May comes around, I need a 3-month decompression before the Jaguars and the Gators begin killing me. So that's why I don't really get into baseball like I should. You can only take so much as a Magic fan, a Gator, and a Jaguar.
Yeah, there's also only so much time in the day.
Right.
And it's funny when I hear people or they'll ask me like, so what TV shows do you watch or what movies have you been watching? I'm always like, what? I don't do any of that stuff. Like, I mean, I understand that certain TV shows people binge watch, they love it. Like that stuff is all valid. Watching movies, by all means, go for it. That's just not how I choose to. We just don't watch that stuff. We watch sports.
I watch documentaries on Netflix.
Have you started or watched Earnhardt?
I have not. No.
Okay, we just started that last night. It is so good. We're almost through episode 2. It is so good.
On Netflix?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, it's on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Yeah.
I'll watch it this weekend.
A streaming one. Oh, it's so good. It's only 4 episodes, right, Dylan?
Yeah, hour each.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm learning so much. Growing up in the South, my dad was never a NASCAR fan, and he's not an NBA fan, which is why I never grew up with a team. Like I knew the names of a lot of these drivers they're in here, but I've learned so much. Like I did not know, and Dylan, you may have, but I did not know that Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt had a rivalry.
Oh yeah.
That was not. I just didn't grow up around the sport or watching it.
That was my when I say my prime of NASCAR, I was really really young.
Yeah.
Like Bill Elliott, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, and the Labonis and Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett. I mean, I was into it back then. I couldn't probably tell you 10 drivers now, unfortunately, because I've just gotten older and I've just gotten out of it a little bit. But you mentioned documentaries and binge watching shows. I'll tell you how far behind the times I am. I don't watch shows, but because Heidi's out of town, I started watching Prison Break.
Okay.
Which I guess came out like forever ago. Have you ever seen it?
Nope.
All right. It was on Fox like 15, 20 years ago. I've gotten through like 15 episodes. I just find myself getting angry because these guys just will not break out of this prison. I don't know when they ever will, but I'm tired of investing 15 hours of my life into seeing when this hole is going to be done. And there's 90 episodes. I went ahead and looked ahead. I'm like, do I really want to watch 75 more episodes of this stuff? So hit me up on the text line if Prison Break is worth the next 75 hours of my life.
Yeah, Dylan, can you help him out on that one?
Negative.
Oh, yeah.
It was a popular show
Well,
on Fox,
15, 20 years ago, Dylan would have been a child.
12
So,
or
yeah,
11,
that
yeah.
makes sense. All right, time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day. You can find our friends at Terminix online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. They took care of our front yard and our backyard last week when it comes to taking care of the mosquitoes. They take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and a whole lot more. Hacker, if you have mosquitoes in your yard, make sure you call my friends at Terminix. They will spray, they will put equipment, and you will have virtually no mosquitoes all summer long, which is fantastic. All right, so today's pest of the day. This is another sad story. Taylor's tangent was sad. This part is sad as well. So the pest of the day is the miner's mother. So Wander Franco was found guilty yesterday. He ended up getting a suspended 2-year sentence, which I think in the Dominican Republic, things are a little different than the United States. Not I think, I know. But he doesn't actually have to go to prison for his 2-year sentence as long as he follows the rules, which is interesting. But the mother of the minor that he was in relations with, which, of course, he was 19, she was 14, so that was against the law. She ended up will go to jail for 10 years because of that. Isn't that just awful that the mom was actually involved and allowed that to happen?
Disgusting, horrible story. And let me be clear about this. From a sports angle, this is what we do. We talk sports. From a sports angle, what a flipping waste of talent Wander Franco is.
I know, and that part is really sad.
It's
unreal. He was one of the best, up-and-coming players, obviously, and he ended up signing an 11-year deal with the Rays for around $180 million.
I mean, he would have been a multi-time All-Star, would have been terrific, and to throw it all away. Now, granted, this happened before a lot of his major league career happened, correct?
So it started in 2022. He signed his deal in 2021, I believe.
Okay, so it was a little after then. All right, so that makes it even worse.
Yes, it does. The whole situation, like I said, is sad. I don't want to spend too much time, but he was found guilty yesterday in the Dominican Republic, and he will serve that 2-year suspended sentence for sexual abuse of a minor. All right, Hacker, one more thing before we have to turn things over to XL Primetime. Sunday night at 7 o'clock, will you have your red, white, and blue on?
Oh, is that the Gold Cup quarters?
Yes, and it is USA v. Costa Rica.
Oh, there's no question about it. Now, again, now is Pulisic and all the big boys playing?
They haven't yet, so I doubt it.
Okay. I wonder why, because I think the Gold Cup
They're taking a break.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, I like the Gold Cup. This is where I really get into it. I watched them beat, who did they beat? They beat Haiti.
Haiti 2-1.
Well, I saw them beat Haiti. Yeah. I was on vacation for one of the matches, so I wasn't able to watch it. But I love country versus country. Like the World Cup's obviously the best.
For sure.
When the European Championships happen, I mean, if it's Sweden and Denmark, are you kidding me? I'm locked in. I love that sort of stuff. So, yeah, absolutely. 7 o'clock Sunday night, Costa Rica. The Costa Rica team's pretty good. They've beaten the U.S. a time or two. So
I feel like, honestly, to this point, everyone's beaten the United States. Remember a few years ago, Trinidad and Tobago won?
Oh, I know. But was that the night the U.S. got eliminated from the World Cup?
Yes.
I was on the air. I was on the air when it happened because it was an afternoon kick, and the U.S. got eliminated at like 9 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm. It was that terrible field. Remember that?
Probably the worst day in the history of United States soccer. The fact that how can you not qualify for the World Cup? Now, they've made a little bit of a resurgence, not great, but a little bit. And, of course, the World Cup is here next year in Mexico, the United States, and Canada.
Which means we get an automatic qualification.
We're already in. Thank goodness.
Which we need for sure. Yeah, those guys, like you said, Pulisic and the best guys on the team, because they're playing all that international soccer, they decided that it was too much for them.
Yeah.
And that's when Landon Donovan came out and said, like, he ripped them basically, and then people were like, Landon, you took a break, and that's why you didn't make team, what was it, 2014, I want to say, is the team that he wasn't on?
Well, I get not playing in friendlies, I mean, obviously, but
Sure.
the Gold Cup is kind of a big deal. I'm a little surprised the big boys aren't playing, at least some of them aren't playing in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, last question I have for you, what was crazier, the fact that we used to vote for the national champion in college football, like with the BCS, we used to vote for it, or that the universal DH wasn't adopted by the NL until 2022.
No, they're both nuts. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Shows you how much sports has changed in a very recent amount of time.
You got that right. All right, let's say hello to Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Service by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
I need a minute here. This is an emotional moment, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll just sit back, relax, and let the two of you
Matt
have some
Hayes.
sort of argument.
How are you doing?
Well, there's always some attractive women in here. Now you have like the most attractive person on the radio station.
Hey, man, I do what I can. Awaken 180 did it for me. Same to you. Congratulations, by the way.
What's going on?
Good, buddy. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. What's new?
Oh, just hanging out on a Friday and headed to Big Chief Tire, the new Mandarin location after this, and I'll join Frank there.
Nice.
Yeah, they're raffling off 4 sets of new tires.
Wow.
So Hacker's going to come by and get try to win some new tires.
They're right down the street from my house. I'm going to have a 1010 XL afternoon. I'm here with Lauren on Helmets and Heels. I'm going to stop by the Frangie show. I want to come back and do Hacker After Dark tonight. Did I hit them all? And I'm going to listen to Into the Night with Rick Ballou on my way in, and I'm going to listen to XL Primetime on my way to
Fantastic.
Frangie.
You know what? At 4:01, when I finish my show, you're not going to hear from me again until July 7th, so I'm very happy.
You're on vacay next week. Good for you.
Where are you headed? Or is it a staycay?
A little staycay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Staycations are good too. We were looking at the current college football recruiting rankings. I feel like that used to be something that we would look at almost every single day. And now with the transfer portal, obviously, they're important for sure. But I feel like they're not nearly as make or break to a college football team as they once were.
Well, I actually think they were more for fans than anything.
Okay.
You know, honestly, I really believe that it's a way to gin up the preseason. It's a way to get everybody really fired up about, you know, the sport itself, because it's such a small window. It's getting bigger. It's definitely getting bigger. We're now into late January, but it's such a small window. There's got to be a way to keep fans involved prior. So I think as much as anything, it's that.
Okay. I did hear your argument, you versus Leon, yesterday, and that was a lot of fun because I feel like you never argue for Florida.
That was a first, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, that's
Right?
my knowledge.
Like
yeah.
Leon arguing for Miami, that's old news. But
Trust me.
Matt actually arguing for Florida.
I never argued for Florida when I was on prime time. I can assure you of that.
I won that argument yesterday too, even though I didn't get it. So
I thought you did too.
although I actually think they both.
I liked your objections as well.
Thank you. I think if they both protect the two quarterbacks, I think they're both going to have big seasons. I really do, because they have pieces around them. The receivers at Florida are much better. The two Wilsons and Sturdivant.
Is Trey healthy? Is he 100% healthy?
Yeah,
He is?
yeah.
Okay.
And they've got a couple other young guys too that they really like, and they got a young tight end they really like. And Miami has got pieces around Carson Beck.
Both like
that
their offensive lines.
Yeah, that Carson really hasn't had since he's been a starting quarterback. They are deep at receiver. So yeah, it should be fun.
Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers?
Yeah, but Brock is a tight end. And Ladd was a very good player. I'm talking about guys actually on the outside, guys that can
The fast guys.
do damage, yes.
Like a Brian Thomas Jr. and a Malik Neighbors.
Not that Brock Bowers couldn't do damage, but
Right, for sure. All right, what's coming up today?
we're going to dig into a lot of college football in the NFL, and we're going to start a new feature.
Ooh.
Friday Fever. So we're going to start like with these, you know, crazy predictions that we're going to give because it's hot and we're annoyed and it's Friday, and and then we're going to come back during the season and say, you remember that Friday Fever prediction you gave? And see how bad it was. Or how incredibly, you know, foretelling it was.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Matt.
All right.
Good to see you, Matt.
Good to see you too, bro.
Exactly.
We shall be listening, and that'll do it for us today. Thank you so much, Hacker.
Lauren, I enjoyed it.
It was fantastic, and we so appreciate it. For Ryan the Hacker Green, for the Vacationing Taylor Doll, for Dylan Denmark, filling in for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday.